Hare Krishna. Welcome
Hare
to
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita class. So I will share my screen and we will start with Mangalacharan prayers. Oops. What is that? No, not that. One sec. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All right. Thank you for joining, everyone. You've made it this far. So we are going to start a brand new section of Bhagavad Gita. And this section is known as Jnana Yoga section. So we have completed 12th chapter. And now comes the section on Jnana Yoga. So let me explain a little bit background of this entire section, chapter 13 to 18. Bhagavad Gita has 3 sections. First, so let me start the screen sharing again. Okay. So I hope you can see my screen here. So Bhagavad Gita, okay, great, is divided into 3 sections. The first section is generally called as Karma Yoga. The second is Bhakti Yoga. And the third is Jnana Yoga. This is chapter 1 to 6, 7 to 12. So we completed the 12th chapter last week. And then 13 to 18.49. 18th chapter has 78 verses. So 18.50 to 18.78 is the final conclusion by Lord Krishna. So Jnana Yoga is this 13th chapter to almost half of 18th chapter. Okay, so Lord Krishna has put the Bhakti Yoga right in the middle, 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Our senior devotees and Srila Prabhupada explain it is like the jam between the breads. So Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are like the bread. Bread by itself is just dry and not sweet. This is like your jam. This is the sweetest and best portion of the sandwich. Without the jam, it is just dry bread. But many people, including myself, just sometimes eat the jam without the bread. So it is in the middle, but there is a deeper understanding of why there is Bhakti Yoga and then Jnana Yoga. So this is because, so please listen carefully to understand why Bhakti Yoga is followed by Jnana Yoga. If Bhakti Yoga is the topmost, then it should come towards the end as the final conclusion, saying that this is the final conclusion, you must follow this. So I will show you some particular portions to prove that the Bhakti Yoga is the topmost yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. But before that, let me explain why Jnana section follows Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti section. Okay, why is this the case? This is the question. And now I am going to explain the answer. So one needs to understand very carefully whether from Jnana comes Bhakti or from Bhakti comes Jnana. Which one is it? The correct answer is this one. Now, Jnana, from Jnana also comes Bhakti. That is correct. That by understanding the principles of Jnana, one finally realizes that Bhakti to Bhagawan is the topmost. That is exemplified in verse number 7.19, which is Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudevah Sarvam Iti Sa Mahatma Su Durlabha. That verse says that Bahunam Janmana Ante, at the end, Anta of Bahunam Janmanam, many births, Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. Finally, they come to the realization that you have to surrender or submit or take shelter. Prapadya means to take shelter or surrender in love to Mam, to Krishna. So this one is a very long process from Jnana to Bhakti. Therefore, the right answer is this one. This is the right answer and this is the wrong answer. Not wrong, but the long answer. So from Bhakti, a Bhakta, a devotee, has all Jnana. Also, another understanding is that Bhakti inspires Jnana. So when there is Bhakti about Bhagawan, especially for the intellectual people, for the intelligent people, or I should say intellectual, or I should say intellectual devotees. Now, many people are taking to Krishna consciousness or have taken to Krishna consciousness in the past as well, but they are very intelligent devotees. And so many examples are there. Arjuna is a very prime example. Arjuna has listened so far to chapters 1 to 12. So he has an understanding of Bhakti. Now, Bhakti inspires Jnana to understand the material nature, to understand how this beautiful nature, this Jagat of the Lord is working. So, even with a little Jnana, even with no Jnana, with little or no Jnana, one can start Bhakti. So, with very little understanding, yes, I am suffering in this life this material world is not the place where I want to be permanently. And if I am with Krishna, there is so much happiness, there is so much bliss. So let me devote my life to Krishna. This, whatever I said in the last 15 seconds, it didn't take more than 15 seconds or 20 seconds to say that, is enough jnana to start bhakti. And even the most illiterate person in the world can understand this much jnana for sure. And that much jnana is enough to start one's process of bhakti. Now, for those who are more intellectual, who have more material knowledge, they need more jnana so that they have to undo, or they can undo or counteract the effects of material jnana. When there is a lot of material jnana, that creates doubts in one's mind. That creates a lot of questions. For the simple people, the illiterate people, very simple people, you tell them that all the suffering in this world is because this material world is not the place, not the right place. It is like a jail. The criminals or whatever, the person who is imprisoned, the goal is to get out. So you chant Hare Krishna, you do Bhagavat Bhakti or Krishna Bhakti, and you will go out. He will simply take to that. He doesn't have too many doubts, too many questions. But intelligent people have too many questions. But once they are convinced about the path of bhakti, then to undo or to overlay the knowledge of bhakti on top of their material knowledge is very important. Therefore, all of us, in addition to chanting Hare Krishna, we absolutely must invest our time in Shastra Adhyaya, Swa Adhyaya. So we must absolutely spend time in doing Shravanam, Bhagavat Shravanam, which means trying to understand what is written in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And that whole concept that one should put their time in doing this activity will be emphasized in these chapters. In almost every chapter, there will be an emphasis on Shastra. 16th chapter, the last two verses are directly hitting the point that you must study Shastra. In the 13th chapter, today we will see that Lord Krishna is pointing to the Vedic literature and the Brahma Sutras. So, and 17th chapter is a response to Arjuna asking the question to Lord Krishna, what happens if one rejects the Shastra Vidhi? He's following the Vidhi, but without faith in the Shastra. So there is such an important focus on understanding what I will call as Bhakti Shastra. And therefore, the correct meaning of 13 to 18, chapters 13 to 18 is not Jnana Yoga. If I say it is Jnana Yoga, that is wrong. It has to be called as Jnana Mishra Bhakti Yoga. Jnana Mishra Bhakti Yoga. Jnana Mishra Bhakti Yoga means that Bhakti Yoga that is mixed with Jnana. So when you mix, are you still able to hear me?
Yes.
There was some cable that fell off. So it is Jnana Mishra Bhakti, which means it is still Bhakti, but mixed with Jnana, Jnana Mishra. Jnana has been mixed. So in every chapter, so there are going to be two main focuses or foci of chapters 13 to 18. One is study of Shastra to strengthen our bhakti. And the second point is Shuddha Bhakti. So the importance, the process and the importance of bhakti has been described in these middle 6 chapters, 7 to 12. And however, one needs to strengthen that through Shastra, but this study of Shastra, this jnana that we are getting, the emphasis in all these chapters over here, every single chapter over here will say bhakti is the topmost. The goal of doing all this is bhakti. Avyabhicharini bhakti, unbroken bhakti. So that point Lord Krishna will not miss mentioning at all in all of these chapters. Okay. So, like I said, the more one is endowed with material jnana, the more one should study Bhakti Shastra. What I have mentioned here, Bhakti Shastra. Because it will dispel our doubts that come to our mind in the process of bhakti. So that is one of the goals of these 6 chapters. Okay. So that is a good enough introduction to this section. Now let us talk about chapter 13. In chapter 13, there are many important topics. Now, this is a little bit technically complicated chapter. Let me tell you a small story of my introduction to. So it's a technically complex chapter. But through this class, and if you not through my class or anything, if you carefully read Bhagavad Gita with Srila Prabhupada's purports, it's made extremely simple. So what happened in my case was actually between me and my wife read the Bhagavad Gita first, cover to cover. I would listen to classes here and there, but didn't go through a systematic study. And I was very inspired by her when she would read the Bhagavad Gita. So one time she was on chapter 13. And I asked her, so what are you reading? So she said, I'm reading this chapter. I'm on this chapter. So I opened the chapter 13 and I started reading it. So it's a fairly complicated chapter, little bit more than other chapters. And 3-4 pages into it, I couldn't understand anything. And I put it down. And then I did not pick up the Bhagavad Gita for another almost 8 months to 1 year. So I just want to share with you that chapter 13 is a little bit complex. I don't want to scare you. I will make it very simple for you through Srila Prabhupada's purports only. But I just want to say that just stay on and you will easily understand everything in the 13th chapter. And I just want to personally share with you that, if you just picked up 13th chapter as a random chapter, then it might be like, what is all this being talked about? What is Lord Krishna saying and what is the context and everything? So then it might be even more hard to understand. But it is a very straightforward chapter. And that was my first introduction to reading a full chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which I could not finish. Then I started from chapter 1. My wife said, why don't you start from chapter 1? It will make more sense. So then it was a very smooth ride after that. So there are many important topics in chapter 13. If, however, I was to pick one key emphasis of chapter 13, one main emphasis of chapter 13, then it is Paramatma. Who is Paramatma? What role he plays? Where does he reside? All the details of Paramatma are given in chapter 13. So as we know, in the body, there is what we call as Jiva Atma, our soul or the soul, and Paramatma. The Jiva Atma has been dealt in great detail in chapter 2, from verse numbers 11 to 30. Paramatma has been mentioned briefly in chapter 6, but a very detailed discussion of who is Paramatma is present in chapter 13. So Paramatma is one of the main topics, of chapter 13. That is the point I want to convey. Okay. So let us see the verses. Verse number 1 and 2. They are combined. So verse number 1 is a question by Arjuna. And then the rest of the chapter is a response to this question by Arjuna. So what is happening in verse number 1 is that Arjuna is asking a question about 6 things. So let us read the verse number 1. Prakritim purusham chaiva kshetram kshetrajnam cha etad veditum ichchami jnanam jneyam cha keshava. So that is verse number 1. So in this verse number 1, Arjuna is asking about 6 things. Prakritim purusham. So there are 3 pairs. So the way to understand these 6 things is 3 pairs. The first pair that Arjuna is asking about is prakriti purusha pair. So prakritim purusham chaiva ksetrajnam ksetrajnam evacha. The next pair is ksetra ksetrajna. Etad veditum ichchami. I want to know this. Veditum means to know. Veda means to know. So etad, about these things, veditum, to know, ichchami, I have a desire to know this. Finally, he says, jnanam jneyam cha keshava. So jnana jnyeya. And maybe the spelling is wrong. Jnanam jneyam cha keshava. My dear Keshava, my dear Krishna, please tell me about these 6 things or 3 pairs. So I will explain in brief what these are, but in detail they are explained in, this will be explained in verse numbers 13th chapter 20 to 23. This kshetra and kshetrajna will be explained first, 13.2 to 13.7. Here I will just call it 13.23. 13.2 to 13.7, and jnana and jnyeya will be explained in 13.8 to 13.19. So as you can see here, starting from the second verse to 23rd verse, everything is covered. Oops. So 2 to 7, 8 to 19, 20 to 23. Lord Krishna is answering all these 6 topics. So let us first deal with this topic. What is kshetra and kshetrajna? So let us read the translation of this first verse by Srila Prabhupada. Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about prakriti." So prakriti, and Srila Prabhupada is giving English translation, nature, and purusa, enjoyer. Kshetra is the field. Ksetrajna is the knower of the field. So, and the field and the knower of the field, jnana is knowledge, and jnyeya is object of knowledge. So here is the very brief understanding of these 6 terms. All right. So once again, Prakritim purusham chaiva. Nature and enjoyer. Prakriti purush chaiva. Kshetra kshetram kshetragyam evacha. Field and knower of the field. Etad veditum ichhami. Jnanam jneyam chakeshava. Jnana is knowledge. Jnyeya is object of knowledge. Now second verse. So this is the first verse. Okay. So in second verse, what is Lord Krishna is going to explain? As I said over here, second verse is Kshetra and Kshetrajna. So first, Lord Krishna will talk about Kshetrajna. So Kshetra is field. Just for now, consider it to be the body. So Kshetra is equal to body. Why is it body? Because Kshetra means what? It's a field, Kshetra. We say Kurukshetra, or there are other cities which have the name Kshetra attached to it. I can't remember any other city, but maybe there is some. But Kurukshetra we know is a Kshetra means a place, a field. Our body is the field of activity over which we have control, isn't it? We can control our body. We can either, pray to the Lord, or we can, do some sense gratification with our body. Our body is in our control. So that is our field of action. We control our body. Now, knowing the body or knowing how it works is the kshetrajna. Gya means one who knows, jnana, gya. So kshetrajna means one who knows the body. So who is the knower of the body? That will be described in 13.2. Describe kshetrajna. I will put a dash here. Kshetrajna, the knower of the field or the knower of the body. So idam shariram kaunteya kshetram iti abhidhiyate. Etad yo veti tam prahu kshetrajna iti tad vidaha. So Lord Krishna is first itself, he is saying idam shariram kaunteya kshetram iti abhidhiyate is called kshetra. What is called kshetra? Our sharir. Lord Krishna is saying here idam shariram kaunteya etad yo veti tam prahu. One who knows, veti means again one who knows, kshetrajna iti tad vidaha is called as kshetrajna. So the knower of the body, sharira. So the English translation by Srila Prabhupada is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, this body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, kshetra, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field. Well, that seems to be like a very standard answer. Okay. Who is kshetrajna? Knower of kshetra. That is embedded in the word itself, kshetrajna. But who is actually the kshetrajna? Who is this kshetrajna? Okay, he is the knower. I agree. Kshetrajna, knower. The word gya means knower. So, knower of the kshetra is just an expansion of the word itself. It is not telling us anything more. So, who is the knower? So, that one should understand, as per it, Lord Krishna will tell later, kshetrajna is the soul, the jiva. The jiva is the knower of the body. He knows the body because he ultimately could be in control of the body. The Atma or the soul could ideally and should ideally be in control of the body. But it has lost control in our case. Who has taken over control? Mind. Mind is the topmost sense organ. So the soul wants to do something with the body, but the mind says, no, I'm going to do this instead. A very good example that is given by senior devotees, and one of them, couple of them, which I appreciate very much, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu and Radheshyam Prabhu, I don't know which one gave this example. Today you go in Uber cars or taxi, you are paying the money. So wherever he takes you should be your desire. You own the taxi fellow for that much ride, isn't it? You say, go here, go there. He should go here or there. You are paying him. But if you say, I want to go to the airport, he ignores your order and he takes you somewhere else, to the football stadium. So that is our situation. The taxi driver is the mind. The passenger is the soul. Ultimately, he is the knower and the owner of the body. He should be. But the driver has become corrupt. He has stopped listening to the soul. And he is doing things out of his own desire. Mind has its own desire. When the desire of the mind is aligned with the desire of the soul, not the other way around. The mind's desire need to be aligned with the soul's desire. Then it is called perfect use of the body. Otherwise, it is a corrupted mind which is doing its own thing. So therefore, the knower of the body is called as soul, is the actual knower of the body. Okay. Then we will go to the next verse. Now, if you see, I drew this line here. There is another knower inside the body. And that knower is not just the soul, but there is another one, super soul or Paramatma. This is Jivatma. Super soul or Paramatma is another knower in the body. So there are two knowers inside our body, Atma and Paramatma. And this will be covered in 13.3. So 13.3, we'll just read the English translation for now. O sign of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. And to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. So Lord Krishna is also introducing what is knowledge. But here the main thing he's saying, ksetragyam cha api mam vidhi. Ksetragyam cha api mam. So first he said, who is ksetrajna? The Atma is ksetrajna in 13.2. Cha api, and also. Api means and or definitely, and cha means also. So cha api means there is another ksetragyam, and he says mam. Mam means Krishna as Paramatma. So I am the other ksetrajna in the body, the knower of the body. And that is what I have shown here as super soul or Paramatma. So, O sign of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. And not only in one body, Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata, in all bodies. So our soul is present in only our body. So we know our body. But Paramatma is present in all bodies. Now, of course, every soul has its own individual, every body has its own individual soul. But we do not know. We are not the knower of other bodies. I don't know what is going on in your body. And body doesn't just mean your blood or your veins and heart and lungs. Really, the body means the subtle body, the mind and intelligence and ahankar. That is where things are really taking shape first. Then they occur in the body. Just like if you are, you do some bad action, some sinful activity, first it starts in the mind. Then it comes into the hands and legs. Then you go kill someone or hit someone or kick someone. But it all first starts in the mind. So I do not know what is going on in your mind. Do I? Do you know what is going on in my mind? No. I, as this individual, the jiva atma know what is going on in my mind. But I do not know what is going on in your mind. But Paramatma knows what is going on in everybody's mind. So that is the meaning of Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. And to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. So to understand this is called Jnana. Now a more specific definition of Jnana will come later, but Lord Krishna is saying that to understand this body, this kshetra and ksetrajna is called knowledge. So another important point to be noted here is what? Knowledge, jnana. A more specific definition will come later. Keep that in mind. But what is Lord Krishna saying is knowledge is kshetra and ksetrajna. Correct? What is kshetra? Who is listening carefully?
Body. Body. This body.
Yes. And ksetrajna. Who is ksetrajna?
Soul and
Soul and
Krishna.
Krishna.
Jiva and Paramatma.
Soul.
Jiva.
Okay. That is knowledge. In today's world, so we can say body is material. Correct? Body is material. And this is spiritual. Isn't it? Knowledge is not today's understanding in modern world. Knowledge or jnana is just reduced to material knowledge. We all think, oh, I have PhD, double PhD, triple PhD. I'm very knowledgeable. So we have forgotten that there is another very important component of knowledge, which is spiritual knowledge. To understand who is the soul, the fact that there is a soul inside the body and we have to care for it, and it lives longer than the body lives. That is called long-term planning. We commit sinful actions and then the soul suffers in the next life. So basically we are doing things today to suffer in the future. That is not knowledge. A person with economic knowledge, for example, will say save money so that you can use it later. That is economic knowledge, but that is limited to material, this body. Spiritual knowledge teaches us that the soul lives eternally and will go from one body to the other. And the super soul knowledge teaches us that the super soul is watching us. All this will come a little later. Lord Krishna will say super soul is Upadrishta and Anumanta. Upadrishta, he is watching what you are doing. And he is right inside the heart. So all this knowledge is spiritual knowledge, and we have forgotten that it is also a component of knowledge. So you can see here every line, every pada or quartlet of the shloka has so much meaning. Kshetrajnam cha api mam vidhi. That there is kshetrajna as me, Paramatma, in a also. Sarva kshetreshu bharata, in every living entity. Another concept that I as Paramatma am in every living entity. I know everything. And he knows, he can connect the two. What is going on in my heart, your heart. Paramatma knows both things. And he knows who is the victim and who is the aggressor. It's not like I can be the aggressor, but claim, no, he hit me first. I am innocent. It was just self-defense. So many criminals get away with the argument of, oh, self-defense. I killed him in self-defense. Now, judge doesn't know what was happening on his side, on the other guy's side, whether he really attacked first. So he may buy the argument, oh, self-defense. Okay, you go free. That is modern judge. But Paramatma knows because he is in that body, this body, and he can connect the two. And then he knows, no, who is the real attacker and who is the real victim. Are you following? So that is the meaning of Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. Okay. Otherwise, Jivatma is also there in Sarva Kshetreshu. difference between Jivatma and Paramatma. We do not know about your body. Paramatma knows about all bodies. And body includes mind and intelligence also. All right, following? And that is Jnana. Okay? Yat tad jnanam matam mama. This is Jnana, one who knows both. All the two things, ksetra, ksetrajna, and ksetrajna means soul and super soul. Okay, so that much explanation is good for 13.3. Now, in 13.4 and 13.5, Lord Krishna is saying a very important thing. What he's saying in this 13.4 and 13.5 is that this knowledge, because Arjuna asked 6 things, right? 6 things or 3 pairs. Isn't it? Arjuna asked 3 pairs. What are the 3 pairs? Who can tell? Who is awake? Prakriti, Purush. Anybody else?
Ksetra, ksetrajna, Jnana,
क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञ और
Gyan,
ज्ञान ज्ञेय
Jnana. Very nice. Thank you.
ज्ञान ज्ञेय
Yes, thank you. So 6 things Arjuna has asked. And Lord Krishna is saying that this is very, very detailed knowledge. Okay? And Bhagavad Gita is mainly a bhakti shastra. So he's saying those who are interested in the details, this Bhagavad Gita will give only a summary of Jnana. For details, you go to other Vedic literature. Especially Brahma Sutras. Brahma Sutra is the number 1 Jnyeya Shastra, it is called. Jnyeya means cause and effect. Jnyeya doesn't mean justice or law. That is one understanding of the word Jnyeya. But real meaning of Jnyeya is logic. Logic means cause and effect. If something is happening, what is the cause? And what will be the consequence of this? Both. So that thing that later will happen, you will know this was the cause. So many people these days are quote unquote looking for answers. I'm looking for answers. So many people say to me, which means that whatever is happening in their life, they know there was something else which is causing it. What do you mean looking for answers? Are you looking for 2 plus 2 equal to what? Well, you can do it on your calculator. That's not the kind of answer. Looking for answers means, why is so and so thing happening in my life? Or in the life of people I love, or in general out there in the world. I am looking for answers, which means this is an effect of something else. Something else caused it. That whole detail is jnana. What caused something this? And if I am doing some actions, what will be the consequences of this? All right, are you following? So this is the effect of something previous, and this is the cause of something in the future. This whole thing is explained, is called jnana. And then when you do certain actions, there will be reactions. Then there is law of karma and all these details. So Bhagavan Krishna is saying that I can only give you a summary, because mainly Bhagavad Gita is a bhakti shastra. And the detailed knowledge is present in Vedic literature, especially the Brahma Sutras. I have a copy of the Brahma Sutras here, you can see. The other name for Brahma, it says here, Brahma Sutras by, for here you can see on the YouTube or in the video, by Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan. This is the commentary on the Vedanta Sutras by Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan. So as you know, the Vedanta Sutras have 4 parts. four main sections. So you see here, this is nothing but the Vedanta Sutra. So you will see here, and they are also called as Brahma Sutras. Vedanta Sutra is a more common name. The original name of that is Brahma Sutras. And this is the topmost Jnyeya Shastra. Jnyeya Shastra means logic. Ultimately, cause and effect. And ultimately, it is also the justice system. The judge says you will get this punishment because you did this in the past. That is cause and effect. Action and consequence. So it is related. So let us see. So did you follow everything here? These two verses are describing this. So I will leave this on the...
Available in the library on the Veda base?
No, this one is not available on Veda base.
Okay.
But no need to read this. Just by reading Bhagavad Gita, it is enough. You don't need to know all these details. And Srila Prabhupada in his purports has given the relevant sutras from the Brahma Sutras. And this one is really complex. My head hurts when I read this. So it is not recommended as a beginning book at all. Don't read it. I'm officially telling you, don't read it. Do not read the Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra. Anybody has objection with it, you can, come and talk to me. I am giving you official advice. At least in the beginning, after fully understanding, no one can fully understand Bhagavad Gita, but after at least reading Bhagavad Gita fully, including purports at least 3 times, and then at least 1 time reading Srimad Bhagavatam full, then you can try reading the Brahma Sutras. And according to Vyasadeva himself, who is the compiler of all this knowledge, the Srimad Bhagavatam is or provides the deepest understanding of the Brahma Sutras. So if you really want to understand the meaning of the Brahma Sutras, you must read Srimad Bhagavatam. I can tell you, if there is more time someday, not today, a story about the Vedanta Sutras or Brahma Sutras. These are very complex. I was talking to one of my foremost Shiksha Gurus. He's one of the most learned persons. His name is Hari Parshad Prabhu. And I have learned so much from him. And he told me this one sutra, Anavritti Shabdat, Anavritti Shabdat. Same thing is repeated twice, and this is a sutra. Sutra means they are coded words. It's kind of encoded, encrypted language. And through the Acharya's commentaries, you have to decode it. Anavritti Shabdat, Anavritti Shabdat. Now, why the same thing is being repeated twice? There is a whole commentary on that itself. Because in the Vedic Shastra, nothing should be repeated 2 times. Otherwise, it is known as a dosha. Dosha means a flaw. So there cannot be a dosha at all. So why it is repeated twice? There has to be special meaning and all those things. So it's very, very complex. Anyway, so read Bhagavad Gita, read Srimad Bhagavatam, and then only try to read Vedanta Sutra. Otherwise, you will get thoroughly confused. If you want to confuse yourself, read it today. Okay, so 4 and 5. Let us cover 4 and 5. So just English I will cover in interest of time. So Lord Krishna is saying, now please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, who that knower of the field of activities is, and what his influences are. So Lord Krishna is just saying, I'm going to explain you all these things. All the things that Arjuna has asked, I'm going to explain you. The important line in this is the last line in this verse. Kindly mute yourself, somebody on Zoom. Tat samasena me shrunu. Samasena me shrunu. Now hear from me, me shrunu. Tat, all this, tat samasena. Samasena means in summary. The Sanskrit meaning of samasena means in summary, in brief. So Lord Krishna is directly saying 13th chapter is a summary of the Vedanta Sutra and the Vedic Jnana. And then he says in the 5th verse, that knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. So that is being called as the Chandobhir Vividha. Chanda means the various verses. Vividha means of various verses of the Vedas, of the Vedic literatures. They are known as Chandas. Vividha means various Vedic literatures. And Brahma Sutra Padaschaiva Hetu Madbhihi Vinishchitaha. So, and the Brahma Sutra. So, Brahma Sutra Padaischaiva. In the Padas, Pada means again, the Brahma Sutras are not full verses. Like I told you, they are like quartlets. The first one, which Srila Prabhupada quotes very often, is called Atatho Brahma Jigyasa. Just small. It's not a full verse. So that is why here Lord Krishna is saying Chanda. Chanda means a full verse. And Pada means a line of a verse. It doesn't mean that there is a full verse. They are just small lines, like I said. Anavriti Shabdat, Anavriti Shabdat. There is no meter, there is no way to sing it. It's just encoded small lines. Brahma Sutra Padaschaiva Hetum Abdhir Vinishchita. Hetu means for some effect. Hetu. For this, Hetu we know. Like we say, Ahaituki Bhakti means which has no motive, which has no, you don't want any results. So Ahaituki. So Hetum Abdhir Vinishchitaha. That is, you can understand the details through Brahma Sutras. Okay. Next verse. 6 and 7 we will do, and then we will stop. 13.6 and 7. And today is the last when we will do the 1 hour class, right? Next week onwards, we will resume 2 hour classes. So Kartik month is over. Today is the last time we are doing the short class. We'll go back to full one next time. So in this one, Lord Krishna is describing ksetra. And ksetra, as we knew, is the body, or known as field. So I will read the verse and then I will explain. Mahabhutani ahankaro. So basically you will see here 24 elements equal to field plus interactions and plus symptoms. So we will see all this. So 24 elements of the field. Mahabhutani ahankaro buddhir avyaktam evacha indriyani dashekam cha pancha cha indriya gochara ichha dvesha sukham dukkham sanghatas chetana dhriti etad kshetram samasena sa vikaram udahritam. So this is last line. Now please, all of you should have Bhagavad Gita in front of you. There is no excuse. And here we are in the class. Everybody is looking at Bhagavad Gita. So etad kshetram samasena. This is kshetra. I am reading the last 2 lines. Etam kshetram sama. This is in summary. Samasena means in brief or in summary. In summary, this is kshetra. I will go back and explain. But here, this is also a summary of kshetra. What I read the first few lines. And so what are these? Mahabhutani ahankaro. The 5 great elements. Mahabhutani they are called. What are those 5 great elements? We had studied in. Very nice. Which is how it starts. Bhumir, Apa, Anala, Vayu, Kha. Those are the 5 great elements. Bhumi, earth, water, air, sorry, not air, Bhumi, Apa, water, Anala, fire, Bhumir, Apa, Anala, Vayu, air, and Kha means sky or Akasha. And I have given in the 7th chapter a more detailed description of what is Kha. It is actually ether. And there's a whole deeper scientific description given there in 7th chapter. I will not repeat it here. Ahankara. Then there is man, buddhi, ahankara. So here also it is coming ahankaro and buddhi. These two, man will come later. So man is covered, ahankar and buddhi. And the unmanifested, avyaktam, the unmanifested, what is known as the pradhana, which is the source of our gunas. So this is the body has conditioning. Now this is where it gets a little bit complicated. You can, and listen to it, but you don't have to understand every little detail. So this is the pradhana, or the source of our gunas or our conditioning. So this body has certain conditioning. Somebody is by swabhava, good person, a passionate person, ignorant person. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Sattva, raja, and tama. These are the three gunas. The source of that is pradhana. So that is given as avyaktam evacha. Then indriyani dasha ekam. 11 indriyas. What are the 11 indriyas? Indriyani dasha eka. We say ekadashi. Tomorrow is ekadashi. Today is dasami. All of you are aware tomorrow is ekadashi. So ekadashi, you reverse it. Dasha eka means 11. So indriyani dasha ekam. What are the 11 indriyas? There are 5 jnanendriyas.
Jnanendriyam, Karmendriyam, and Manas.
5 कर्मेंद्रिय, 5 ज्ञानेंद्रिय और 1 मन.
That is correct. So okay, so many people are speaking, so I will say. So eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. These are the 5 jnanendriyas. Then there are 5 karmendriyas. No. Hands, legs,
Voice.
hands, legs, yes, voice or tongue, you are right, but it's typically called as voice, the rectum and the genitals. So these are the 10 karmendriyas. And then mana. These are the 11 indriyas. So then indriyani dasha ekam cha. Panchacha indriya gochara. The 5 objects of the senses. What do senses get attached to? They get attached to the 5 objects of the senses, which are smell with the nose,
Yes.
taste with the tongue, form, you see, like to see nice things, you like to see Taj Mahal, this, that, all those nice things, that is through the eyes, touch through the skin, and sound, everybody likes to listen to nice music through the ears. So these are the 5 objects of the senses. So now what has been covered? All the 24 elements have been covered in this part of the verse. 11 indriyas, 5 objects of the indriyas. Okay. No, so these are not included. 5 objects of the indriyas are not included. 8 elements. So 11 plus 8 is 19. And 11 plus 8 is 19. Yeah, and the 5 objects. So that makes it how much? No, there is some mistake here. So there is 8 elements. Because there is the unmanifested, the pradhana also. So that is 1. So it cannot total to 25. It has to total to 24. So 5 objects. What is happening here?
Have you counted 1 in indriyas?
The
11
mind,
indriyas
yes.
is including the pradhan.
Yeah, no. The mind is being double counted. So 8 elements means then we have to make it 7. Yes, now it is 24. Thank you. Mind we counted as indriya, and mind we also counted as in 8 elements. We cannot double count, right? So 11 indriyas, 7 elements, or you can say the sum is what? 11 plus 7 is 18. The sum has to be 18, whether you count mana in indriyas or in elements. So these are the 24 elements. Then there are 4 interactions with the senses. So let me sort of draw this kind of a, this whole thing is ksetra. So 5 elements. We'll just say 10 senses, or we will say 8 elements, 10 senses, pradhana, and 5 sense objects. Okay, this whole thing is known as the ksetra. Ksetra or field or body. Okay, this whole thing is known as ksetra. Now there are interactions between this and the sense objects, and there are 4 of those. Happiness, distress, desire, and hatred. These are the 5 interactions of the body.
Love and desire are same.
So the question here is, love and desire, is it the same? No, it is not the same. You can have desire for anything. Okay, desire relates more to attachments. And as you can understand, attachment is little different from love. Okay, so these are the 4 interactions of the body. And then there is a very important thing, which is symptoms of the body. Now, body is dead matter. What can be a symptom of dead matter? No symptom. Symptom means, how do you, one dead matter is no different than other dead matter. It is just dead matter. It cannot show any feelings, any emotions, or basically it cannot have any interactions. So how does this interaction happen, or how do you detect that there is interaction? There are 2 symptoms of the body, and the symptoms of the body means symptoms of the presence of the soul in the body. There are 2 symptoms. One is known as dhriti and one is known as chetana. Chetana means consciousness and dhriti means conviction. This is very, very important. And this is the most important part of this verse. That because there is a soul inside the body, it is very easy to understand there is consciousness, correct? When the soul leaves the body becomes unconscious and dead. A dead body is unconscious. But the other important symptom of the soul is dhriti or conviction. So therefore, when many people ask that, oh, I am reading Bhagavad Gita, I am doing bhakti, is it real? How do I know it is real? How do I know that Bhagawan is real? So a dead person cannot do bhakti. Only a conscious person can do bhakti. And the way Bhagawan proves that Bhagawan is real is through conviction. In your heart, you begin to realize the Lord will communicate in a very, very direct and very clear way. There, you cannot mistake it for something else. That yes, if you seriously do Krishna Bhakti, Bhagawan, you will hear Bhagawan's voice in your heart. You will see his reciprocation in your heart. And the way to detect that is dhriti or conviction. You will be convinced that bhakti is not something which is imaginary. It is absolutely real. So let us read the translation of this verse. So the translation is the 5 great elements, which is Bhumir, Apa, Anala, Vayu, Kha, false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, which I said is Pradhan, the 10 senses, including the 5 Jnanendriyas and 5 Karmendriyas, and the mind, the 5 sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms, and convictions. All these are considered in summary to be the field of its activities and its interactions. So this is the field of activity and its interactions, and the interactions are caused by the body is able to interact through these feelings of happiness, distress, desire, and hatred due to the presence of the soul. So this is a little bit technical, but the point is that a living body, conscious body, can interact with the outside world. And this will be a link to the next portion which will be coming up, which we will discuss next week, is the role of Paramatma. This Dhriti and Chetana is caused by Paramatma. Paramatma is the one that enables or that gives power to consciousness and conviction. If Paramatma is not there, our soul cannot exist independently. It just cannot. And neither can it realize or feel or interact with the material world. So we will discuss this next time. So we will stop here. It is 7:10. Are there any questions or comments? It was a little technical. As I told you, this is a very deep portion of the Jnana Shastra. So please, if you did not understand some of it, that is totally okay. I am also at the same place. Are there any questions or?
Sir, I have one question here.
Yes.
So, is there a reason why Lord Krishna started with the Karma Yoga first, to Bhakti?
Yes.
And now then he's moving to the Jnana Yoga now. So, ऐसा क्यों ऐसा कि gem बीच में है and
yeah. So the question he is asking is, why did Lord Krishna start with Karma Yoga, then Bhakti, then Jnana Yoga? So I hope I explained in the beginning of the class why Jnana Yoga is following Bhakti. Is that part clear? So I'm not going to repeat that part. Okay. If you are interested to look at that, you can look at the video again, which will be uploaded on YouTube, and you can get that answer. Now, Bhakti directly, okay, should not be explained, or especially to a materialistic person. A materialistic person first needs to realize, if I tell you that, basically there has to be for a materialistic person is always looking for motive. What is in it for me? Why should I do something? What will benefit me out of this? He's always looking for that. So Karma Yoga section takes you through that first of all, material benefits. There could be material benefits. So talking about not just this life, you have a next life. Do you care for yourself in this life? Try to think about caring for next life. Therefore, perform good karma. You only will benefit from it. So that is you first start by explaining to people the benefit of understanding something that is above just basic material knowledge. And therefore, to understand, what does it mean next life? This body will die. Then we put it in a hole in the ground, or we burn it. That's what we do with a dead body. So what does it mean next life? Oh, because the soul is there. I am not the body, I am the soul. I will get the next life as a different body. Oh, what is the soul? Then you start going a little bit into the spiritual side, because soul is spiritual, the body is material. And then you go to the bhakti section to understand that the real purpose of the soul is bhakti, is to serve Krishna. Jivera swarupa hoye, Krishnera nityadas. So the swarupa, the real identity of a jiva, is Krishnera nitya. Nitya means always, an eternal servant or a servitor of Krishna. So first you have to understand you are a jiva. For that you have to understand that this material body is not me. To understand that this material body is not me, you have to go through the karma yoga section. Do good activities so that you can get benefits in next life. That is the connection to the soul. Then you are able to understand that the real purpose of soul is not just to ensure next life goodness and next life goodness and next life goodness. That's very boring. All I'm doing is just ensuring next life goodness. When will I really enjoy? All the time, if you are just told, okay, you have to study hard, study hard, study hard, study hard till you die, you keep studying hard. The child will ask, Arey Baba, why am I have to study hard? When will the time come when I will reap the benefits of studying hard? When I will get a good job, then I will get thousands of dollars, and then I will always, enjoy on the beaches of Hawaii. Okay, that's why I have to study hard. Then it makes sense to the child. So always telling you have to just keep doing good things for next life, for next life, for next life. One will ask what? Then you have to go to bhakti to understand that ultimately that, beach on the Hawaii is Vaikuntha. Hawaii is Vaikuntha. And then there is Yad Gatva Na Nivartante. Once you go there, that is permanent happiness, permanent bliss. Tad Dhamam Paramam Mama, Bhagawan says in 15th chapter. So after you go there, then it is permanent bliss. So then there is bhakti for that. So this is the whole story, or that whole steps that Lord Krishna is trying to guide us. And then, like I mentioned, those who are too much into material knowledge, they need to understand Jnana Shastra to undo their Bhautik Shastra, to eliminate the various doubts that come in their mind. But this Bhautik or this Jnana Shastra section is Jnana Mishra Bhakti. It's not just pure Jnana, dry Jnana. It's not purely just Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya is dry Jnana. This is Jnana Mishra Bhakti Shastra. So ultimately it is Bhakti mixed with Jnana. Okay. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, one question, because here the reference was to Brahma Sutra. Was Prabhu Krishna assuming that Arjuna would have context of Brahma Sutra, or would it be that he would later, because they were in the middle of the battlefield? So just out of curiosity, I wanted to understand, would Arjuna have that context already?
Yes, absolutely. That's answer number one. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Brahma Sutras are eternal, and Arjuna, I do not have a direct reference of it, but Arjuna would definitely have the knowledge of the Brahma Sutras. However, Bhagavad Gita is not being spoken only to Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita is being spoken to all of us, and Lord Krishna, while saying Bhagavad Gita, speaking Bhagavad Gita, knows that. It is not that he was speaking only to Arjuna, and by the way, by chance, we also got to know about it. That is not the case. When Bhagawan Krishna was speaking Bhagavad Gita, that time itself, he was speaking to all of us. Okay, so many places there is a reference to Narah or Manushyanam. People should do this, people should do that. If he is only speaking to Arjuna, why would he say people should do this? That would be absurd. So that is when Lord Krishna is speaking like that to Arjuna. From there, we should understand that is just a proof. But also our acharyas and everybody explains Bhagavad Gita is not just meant for Arjuna. It is meant for all of us. And like somebody was asking, just in this class, where can I get it in the library, this, that. So one must try to understand that in what sequence to read the various shastras. So Lord Krishna is just giving a pointer here that those who are interested in the deeper details can go and read it over there.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare. Anything else? All right. Thank you so much. So next time we will continue from 13.8. And this is a very, very beautiful section of what is jnana. And I will explain in detail what is jnana. And there are 20 items, 20 absolutely beautiful items of jnana. So if you are interested in some of the very deep details of how to become a bhakta, and this is where bhakti comes in. In 13th chapter, bhakti is at the heart. Though Paramatma is the main topic I mentioned, but bhakti is at the heart. And you will see this in these 20 items, especially in the 16th item, where Lord Krishna himself says, avyabhicharini bhakti. So we will discuss the process of jnana in the next class. Please don't miss it. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you next Friday. Tomorrow again, we will have Ishopanishad class as part of our Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic study series. So please join for Ishopanishad. And next Friday, we are starting a new batch of Bhagavad Gita in January. Now, it doesn't mean this batch will be over by then. This will keep continuing, but it has been too long since I started a new batch. And this, like I said, batch is going to be a XL or double XL size batch. So I'm going really deep and slowly in through all the verses for my own pleasure and benefit and for all of you. But I wanted to have a shorter batch started already in parallel. So you are all welcome to join that also. There is no limit. That will be on Sunday evenings, Pacific time. 5 p.m. is the current plan. So please send the message to your friends to join that if they would like. And you are also welcome to join. And that will be a small size batch. We will finish. We'll go very quickly through all the verses of each chapter. In 5 months, we will finish whole Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, so please share the words or share the announcement with your friends. Yeah, thank you very much. And they have to register using a form like you had done many months ago. So there's a Google form where you have to register, but it's free of cost. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.